And but I still think that it's really, really tough to monetize as a podcaster
Yes.
in Mexico. And I was kind of like brainstorming different ideas, and I think that there are two broad ideas that I have that could work, but they're kind of opposed to one another. So they're kind of like they could still coexist, but are technically betting against each other. And so I'll quickly tell you about those two ideas, and you can tell me what you think. So first, I quickly want to sort of explain the problem, because I see like a lot of creator economy startups that are doing something along the lines of like helping creators getting paid, like with different tools to collect payments and stuff like that. And I don't think that collecting payments is actually the problem, like because we already have PayPal, Stripe, all the local payment solutions, OpenPay, Connecta, etc. And you can just like drop a link and ask for a subscription or for a payment. So I don't think that like the actual process of getting paid is the problem. What I do think is the problem is monetization, which is not the same as getting paid. So the challenge is to convert users or listeners to customers, people that give you money. The infrastructure of that already exists. So it's not about like actually collecting payments. It's creating some kind of scenario where you can basically have an easy way to monetize your audience, your listeners, in a variety of different ways. So I think, and in general, there are three different ways, right? There's micropayments, there's subscriptions, and there is some kind of solution that scales monetization via ads. So those are the three ways to monetize. And I think that one interesting play would be to create a media company focused on podcast production, similar to Gimlet Media. So Gimlet Media for LatAm would be a really, really good idea. Are you familiar with Gimlet Media? So,
no, not really.
Yeah, so Gimlet Media was this media company that produced dozens and dozens of different podcasts, and they were ultimately acquired by Spotify 3 years ago for around, I think it was $280 million or something like that. There's another big podcast production company called Wondery. You might have heard this podcast
Yes.
called Business Wars. Yeah.
Yes, I know Wondery. Yeah,
so
and they
like,
have lots of content. Like,
yeah,
they
so it's
are
like
huge.
highly produced, right? It's not like your regular podcast where it's just an interview or something like that. It's highly produced content. And so I think that something like that could work, sort of a media company that focuses on monetizing podcasts, where you like just do a collective of different talents and you roll that up. And I think it's a unique opportunity to do that because monetization is so difficult. So if you just create a company around that where you produce the content, you sort of pay creators on a monthly basis, and you take care of monetization. So you have a sales team, and that sales team helps sell ads. You do cross promotion. You figure out a few different ways to monetize, right? So you create a company, you recruit talent, and then you sort out monetization for those podcasters. I think that a very, very successful media company in Latin America could be born out of this idea. And this idea essentially banks on monetization continuing to being really, really difficult, right? Because if you're a huge podcaster, you have very, very limited options to monetize. You kind of need like a bigger corporate structure that helps you monetize. So I think a Gimlet Media for Latin America could be a really, really interesting opportunity. And then the other one would simply be a different podcast app. So there, a few years ago, I was using this app called the Podcast app, which I don't know if you ever used it, but it was like a very, very clean app. I really liked it. It was a startup that I think was actually backed by Y Combinator, and it was from a bunch of founders from Argentina, and it's basically like an app completely focused on podcasts. And I think that there's an interesting opportunity there. So I think that given the numbers in Latin America, you probably could create a Spotify competitor and try to convince creators to also use your app. You could potentially do something similar to Anchor, where you upload the episode and it then gets distributed to all platforms, including yours, and then you automate ads. So automatically ads will play on your app. And I think that there's a window of opportunity to do this for Latin America, because Spotify is now doing this. So if you are, they're doing it only in the US. So they're not yet doing this in Latin America. But I think that there's this window of opportunity to basically create a Spotify competitor completely focused on podcasts, where you automate monetization via ads. So where ads just start playing every now and then in like specific moments during the episode, and then creators get paid. So they can just sort of click, I want to start monetizing, and I think that could be a good opportunity, like to basically have an app that natively has options to do micropayments for episodes, to do subscriptions, to maybe have like exclusive content via subscriptions, to have automated ads, but all that could be natively integrated in the app. So if you ask me, the founders of the podcast app should just give it another shot and just like create a startup around this idea and help podcasters in Latin America monetize. I think that there's a window of opportunity.